Three bits of bad news to start today's episode. Firstly, I spilled Lemsip on my keyboard. It's broken, so that's an expensive mistake. So there's no keyboard today. That can't come back to bite me. Secondly, Andy has torn his thigh muscle. That is some more disastrous news. And on top of that, I have to inform you and just prepare you for the fact that this week, there might be a couple of gaps in the daily upload schedule. I usually pride myself, as you guys know, on my consistency. I have a lot of real world stuff going on at the moment that's just interfering with my ability to get videos out on the regular. Hope you guys understand that. If there are a couple of gaps, please do still eat your lunch. You're allowed to eat it, even if there's not a Park to Prem video up at midday. Anyway, saying all of that, there's a new face at the club who I've spent some big money on, and I'm really excited to tell you about. So let's run the intro and get all the negative news over and done with. From now on, it's all positive, it's all good. Sean Steele, welcome to Wanderers. Yes, folks, how is it going? And a warm welcome back. It's Park to Prem. It's episode number 69. It's nice. Someone's going to do it. I'll do it. Don't write in the comments, or do. Helps with the engagement. And today we are back for the round of 16 in the Champions League, where I'm going to be honest, I feel like we've got quite a kind draw against Lyon. I had a little look through their team. Their key player is Mayulu here, who doesn't seem that scary. And to be fair, when I look at their team report and sort the players' by ability, yeah, they've not got a load of like super scary players. I mean, Carey here is actually a pretty bloody good footballer, isn't he? I did also notice, I think Pelistri here used to be very good in Football Manager. Not so good anymore, mind you. I'm really setting this up for us to get battered by them, aren't I? But yeah, today we are going to have full focus on the Champions League. We have played a fair amount of league games since you were last here. Before all of that, though, probably should talk about how January finished. Now, of course, last episode we sold Philip Roque for £21 million. Very, very happy with that sum of money. That was a decent little sale, all things considered. And we followed it up with what I think was another good sale that we really needed to make. Gavin Gallagher departed for £17 million. We brought him in for £8 million a few years ago. Truthfully, over the last few years, his performances have just been lacking. And to be fair, you look at his performances since he's joined Hull, they haven't got much better. Of course, we signed Mainu already, so this was a player who I needed to get rid of. 17 million felt pretty good. And well, I took that 17 million and squirreled together all the other money that we had to make one big signing, and that was Sean Steele. Now, you might remember this guy as a player I looked at a few transfer specials ago. He didn't have a face back then. I've added a face to him. He was playing for Aston Villa, and well, he'd only been played in one Premier League game for them. He actually scored on his Premier League debut for us, which was great to see. I actually agreed to sign him before Andy White got injured, but in a weird way, it looks like a 200 IQ play that I knew Andy White was going to be missing for 3 months, and so I started to bring in the understudy now. But to be honest, looking at Sean Steele here, really well-rounded attacker, has great technicals off the rip. Physicals could maybe do with a little bit of development, but the boy is only 19, and since joining, he's already showing some promising signs of improvement. Like I said, though, it was £35 million, which was the bulk of the money that we had left over, although I did use some instalments just to ease the burden a little bit, but he was the only signing we made. Now, of course, we ended last episode with a win against Arsenal. That felt like a really good result, and from there, we really had some good momentum. We won against Napoli 2-1, we won against Birmingham City 7-1, we then drew against Atletico Madrid, but going into that game, we'd actually already guaranteed ourselves top spots in the Champions League group stage, and despite the fact we drew that final game, we still finished at the top, which was a really great achievement in our first time in the Champions League. From there, we ended the month of January with a 4-1 win, as you can see here against Hull City. Great result against the newly promoted team, and into the month of February we went. And whilst there's been a lack of clean sheets, goals have been here, there and everywhere, including, of course, against Everton, where, as I've already mentioned, Sean Steele scored on his debut. I'm not going to pretend it was some wonder goal for the 19-year-old, but great to see him get off the mark. Sadly, we did slip up against Newcastle. They're a good little team, though. Away from home was never going to be easy. Was a little bit pleased with how we showed character. Despite the fact we threw away a goal lead with 15 minutes left, we actually grabbed an equaliser of our own in the 81st minute. Joe McHugh, the hero, a man who just seems to pop up with goals on off the bench on the regular. And from there, well, the goals have just continued to flow. 6-1 against Wolves, a great result there. Hatswell with 2. 4-0 against Southampton, Sheldon with a brace. 5-1 against Aston Villa in the FA Cup was great. Less great was our most recent game. We took on Tottenham. We had a great first half against them, but couldn't score. In the second half, they changed up their shape a little bit. We couldn't really deal with it. They scored there through Francia. That was the only goal of the game. And when you look at the match momentum, you can kind of see how in the early stages, we dominated, but couldn't get a goal. And from there, well, in the second half, they were by far and away the better team. A frustrating result, this one, especially because had we won it, we would be much closer to the top of the table. As things stand, Tottenham, who we lost to, are in second, but they have a game in hand, which if they win, they'll go top. Right now, we trail Arsenal by 7 points. There's only 9 games left of the league season. Now, it is worth noting that Andy White got injured in the game against Hull, so despite his injury, we have been in some pretty good goal-scoring form. In fact, when you look at the player stats here, whilst Andy is our top goal scorer, we have 3 players now in double figures, all with 14 or more goals. Brennan has been a little bit of a revelation this year, and of course, alongside the likes of Sheldon and Rashid Mohammed, who I'm pleased to report is back from AFCON, yeah, the goals have continued to flow. You can actually see here, since Rashid came back, 1 goal against Everton, 2 assists against Wolves, a goal against Southampton, and a goal and an assist against Aston Villa. We really missed this man last month. Now, it does look like the league title is above and beyond us, sadly, but looking at the FA Cup, we've been given a fairly kind draw, if I might say so myself, against Bournemouth, a game that we really should be winning. Elsewhere, there's only a handful of Premier League teams left in the competition. Liverpool and Wolves play one another. Wrexham have taken Manchester United to a replay. Sheffield United of the Championship and Exeter of League One play one another, so one of those teams will be in the FA Cup semi-final. Now, that game against Bournemouth is a little way away. As for our intentions today, it's all about the Champions League. Whilst we do have a midweek game against Man City, that is far from the focus for us. I want to go on a big Champions League run. Not only would it be great for our club reputation, even if we don't win it to go far, but in terms of just generating some fund, prize money in the Champions League is fairly substantial. It is easy to forget as well, we have the lowest wage spend in the whole Premier League. We do not spend a lot of money on our wages. It's our final year this year at Brisbane Road before we move into a stadium of our own, which is definitely going to help with the financial side of things. Right now, it'd be safe to say the kind of wage budget that we have is kind of just the safe amount the club can afford to spend. It gives us a sustainable amount of money where we're not just losing money like crazy and we still have money for transfers. The wage budget is not going to budge until we move stadiums, which hopefully, obviously, next season we'll see that change happen. But on top of that, prize money in every competition is crucial. The Champions League provides that. So anyway, we are going to be taking on Lyon. When you look at the list of teams that we could have played, I'm going to be honest, this is definitely one of the easier games on the agenda. Of course, we beat PSG at home. 3-0, was it? It was a lot of goals to something. I can't remember how it finished. It was 3-0 after 30 minutes, and then I lost my head. But you can see here, they've actually just beaten AC Milan, of course, now called Casciaviti Milano. I'll just call them AC Milan for all our sanity. They beat AC Milan 4-1. So that result against PSG suddenly looks even better. Anyway, we are going to have full focus, like I said, on these 2 Champions League knockout games today. To be honest, our season is largely going to hang and hinge on these games. In terms of team news for this match, we have had a couple of injuries at centre-back. Dorrington and Ashley Phillips have missed periods in the last month, which I think has contributed to our struggles at the back. You can see here, Ashley Phillips fit to play 75 minutes. Elsewhere, Carl Flood coming back from injury, but fit enough to play. Worth noting, I can fill out the bench. And also worth noting that I was actually able to register Sean Steele in our team. So he is an option we have on off the bench. But to start things today, we're going to go with our 3 top goal scorers at our disposal. Sheldon, Brennan, Mohammed. The 3 Musketeers. I know there were 4 Musketeers at some point. I feel like Andy White is the 4th Musketeer who appeared like halfway through the story. These 3 guys have been here the longest. They're the players I have faith in today. I never realised, but when I record videos, I instinctively rest my left hand on WASD, because I'm a PC gamer nerd. I'm now just hovering my hand and there's just a blank space in front of me because there's no keyboard there. And it does make me feel sad. Now, of course, there are no away goals in the Champions League. They're playing a 5 at the back. This could be interesting. But nevertheless, you know, we're away from home here. Away goals aren't a thing. Doesn't mean I don't want to win by as many as possible here. Wonder how we're going to fare against their system, mind you. I mean, saying all of that, we got a set piece after 32 minutes. Sheldon, I don't think you've scored a free kick all year. If you want to score one now, that would be fam-dabby-dozy. He's only gone and done it. It's his 17th of the year. That is the perfect start. Our form may be patchy in the Premier League. We are unbeaten in the Champions League so far. 7 wins, 1 draw. That 1 draw came after we'd already secured top spot. Got off to the perfect start in this game too. Ajaria at right back throws it to Rashid Mohammed. I do wonder if our 3 striker system will just match up quite nicely against their 3 defenders, especially with how fluid we are in that part of the pitch. If we can pull their back 5 into all different directions, I think there's an opportunity to score some great goals. Rashid Mohammed is going to give it back to Henderson here. He gives it to Sheldon. Rashid marauding through the middle, falls to Bernard Brennan. And I know there were some question marks over the former Lincoln City man. I feel like those question marks should be vanquished now. He didn't have the most explosive season last year at the club. It was his first year where we kind of brought him into the team and watched what he could do. I think he got 9 goals. But this year I decided to persist with him. He's still in his early 20s. That faith has been rewarded. He's been a much better player this year. And I'll tell you what, that was such a good goal that the game wants me to watch it a 3rd time. Definitely not because there's a VAR decision. It's definitely because of how good it was. and they just cut it short. That's awkward. All I'm saying is I don't see many fans of Bernard in the chat. There needs to be more friends and fans of Brennan. He's a great player. I mean, he's not anti-white good, but he's still good. Anyway, it's 17 minutes in here. I mean, if I win this game by like 5 goals, do we just do the Man City game as the second game today? That might be what we do. You know, if this game feels like it's done after the first leg, I won't waste your time and I won't waste my time. We'll do Man City. How's that for a plan? And I know what some of you are thinking, Jack, why not do all the games? Look, my voice is not going to survive 3 matches. It is still hanging on by a thread, folks. Speaking of which, Lemsip in me. Henderson, put the ball in the net, son. Hatsfield, Brennan, beautiful play. He scored again. Also, I've called Hatsfield there. No idea why. Answers on a postcard. Send help. I am beginning to question, am I just high on Lemsip? This is like day number 4 of me having to intake Lemsip on the regular in order to be able to speak. That's not a bad little goal, is it? To be honest, it's not even like we've been super rampant in this game. Our XG doesn't even exceed 1. It's just been quality finishing by our strikers. But 3 goals to the good here. Lyon aren't showing much fight, and obviously I'm fully aware this is the away leg. If there was a game that we were likely to struggle in across the 2, this was going to be the more difficult one. Definitely gives me optimism. They're going to Brisbane Road. We're going to be in good stead. Then again, let's not throw away the advantage we have here. They've just hit the post. That was scary. Faye is going to try and keep the ball alive for them. Lays it inside to Saar. Wide now to Abner. They've still got players committed to this attack, including Moussa Diaby, who scores. And 2 minutes into the second half, it's 3-1. Wondered if we'd got away with it after they hit the woodwork. Turns out we had not got away with it. Abner with the ball here. Squares it across. Diaby was left unmarked. It has to be said. Questionable defensive positioning and defensive shape. Yeah, let's hope that's just a one-off. Okay, an hour played here. They've actually got the higher XG. This has been a game where we've been good, but we've not been as dominant as the scoreline might suggest. Flood is struggling a little bit since coming back from injury. I'm going to bring in Mainu. Elsewhere, Ajaria not having his best game today. Niall Townsend's recent form at right back's been really, really impressive. Going to bring him on in this game here. In terms of in the final third, Rashid Mohammed's been quiet. Sean Steele on for his live commentary debut and the right kind of striker position. I feel like at this point now, getting some fresh legs, half an hour, try and up the tempo maybe, try and take and press home an advantage. And for a moment I thought Wallace was going to score there. Right as I was about to sub him off, he will now go off the pitch, ironically. And well, hopefully I'm not going to live to regret that decision. To be fair, when I look at the players we've brought on, there is some quality in our ranks. I'm not sure 3-1 is comfortable enough to say the second leg is a surefire thing, sadly. If we get to 4-1, then I'm going to be eyeing up the Man City game. And I do feel like with how this game's played out, we look like the team most likely to score. Lyon haven't created a great deal. We've got a chance here. Townsend shoots, it's blocked. It falls to Hatswell, who's had a breakout couple of months. He lays it inside. Brennan has somehow not scored a hat-trick there. I'm not sure how he didn't score it. It was offside in the build-up, so it wouldn't have counted anyway. But immediately, there is another highlight here. Faye is bringing the ball forward. Of course, at this point, I feel like our Champions League dream is perhaps our best chance at major success. Whilst the FA Cup would be great to get, the Premier League title's gone. The Champions League, I think, probably is the big priority right now. So the fact we're looking this convincing in this game here is pleasing. I mean, saying all of that, it is only a 2-goal game. I don't want to get too complacent too soon. But I think when you look at the performance we've put in, we've shown that we are the better team. At home, I'd like to think we can press home the advantage that little bit more. We've limited their opportunities. And yet they very nearly scored. Anson makes a save. I'm going to praise the players because we are up a goal here and get some green, happy, smiley faces at the bottom. But I'd be lying if I was to say I'm chuffed with how this second half's gone. They got 1 goal back. They nearly got another one there. That header wasn't far over either. And Lyon have changed their shape in this game, which is interesting to note. They went to a 4-2-3-1, I assume trying to chase this game. And with 45 seconds left, are they going to be rewarded for that bravery? Mayulu shoots, oh my word. Well, I identified him as their best player, and I kind of said, oh, he's not that good. He's shut me up, hasn't he? 3-0 was comfortable. 3-1 I was happy with. 3-2? There's a voice of doubt suddenly over my shoulder. Yeah, second game today is going to have to be the second leg, because we've not done the job that we needed to do here. We actually had a way better second half in terms of XG, but in terms of the scoreline, we weren't able to score anything. Bernard Brennan getting man of the match is really pleasing to see. This guy's still showing some pretty good signs of improvement, which is great. Sadly, we've still got a lot to do going into the second leg. Sadly, Manchester United have knocked out Wrexham in the FA Cup. No idea why that game was being played today, but it is. It means United are going to take on Coventry in one of the quarter-final games. Might rotate the team a little. Don't go anywhere. I'm back in a week for a big one. Okay, second leg against Lyon. Probably have to talk about the Man City game, don't I? Kind of wish I didn't. Yeah, we lost 2-1. An own goal and then a goal scored by Batorina in the 14th minute. Really didn't get us off to the best start in this game. A late goal from Carl Flood on off the bench. Look at the match stats. We were so good in this game. I actually played a really rotated team as well. And despite how good we were, we managed to lose 2-1. They had one shot on target. I feel like this game just hates me sometimes. So with that all said and done, we're 10 points behind Arsenal. Champions League and FA Cup are just now the focus. They're the only thing that we're left ready to play for. Of course, a top 5 finish would guarantee us Champions League football. With Manchester United and Newcastle just a few points behind us and United having a game in hand, not even that's guaranteed right now. So in terms of team news, like I mentioned, fully rested pretty much after the City game. I fully rotated the team because I want to make this the focus. It was a bit of a shame that the reserves couldn't get a result. Going to hope that these players who turned up pretty good in the first leg can turn up big again. I always forget about the extra subs that I can use in this competition. Sadly, Andy White, not close to being fit. 2 to 5 weeks, maybe he'd be back for the quarter-final if we get that far. I'm not going to count my chickens before they hatch, though. This game is not done. Now, based on the first leg, I'm feeling quietly confident, but I know for a fact I felt confident in Football Manager matches before, and they've all gone horribly wrong. In terms of first knockout rounds of Champions League football that we could have, this is definitely one of the easiest draws I could ever wish for. We've just got to make it happen over this, well, I was going to say the second leg. Yeah, it is the second leg, of course. This is going to be our only season we ever play at this stadium. I want to make some happy memories here to end our final year before we move into our own ground. Okay, 6 minutes into this game. We scored within a minute before, didn't we? So it was always going to be a tall order to match that goal scoring after that Sheldon free kick. But a goal here would definitely help ease the nerves. Hatswell, from range, shoots. It's blocked. For a moment, I thought they were going to hit us on the counter, but with how many men they've got behind the ball, there's not really much of a counter-attacking option on. It has to be said for Lyon here. Wallace gives it back to Henderson. He's going to drift wide and give it back down the line to Wallace. Flood. Hatswell. Lovely build-up play. Oh, my word. That's hit the outside of the post. It would have been such a good goal. Caleb Anson over the goal kick. Gives it short to Dorrington, who's now going to bring the ball out from the back. Back to Phillips. He goes. Flood now has the ball for us. Hatswell to Sheldon. Options to his left in Henderson and Wallace. That is where we're going to go for now. Although there's lots of space on the other side of the pitch. We're making this pitch wide. We're using the full width. Ajaria now has it. Gives it to Rashid Mohammed. He's going to pull it across the line. It spills out to Flood. And it's blocked wide. How have we not scored? To be fair, we do still have the corner here. Sheldon is over it. Whipping it to the back post. Yeah, their goalkeeper's collected that one. I mean, early stages, I'm going to encourage the players. We've been the better team in these very early stages. 5 shots to none. They've had more of the ball. Brennan, please don't get sent off. Sung his praises after the first leg. Imagine. I don't want to imagine if he just went in two-footed. This is definitely the kind of game where I just want the early goal to settle the nerves and definitely don't want an early red card. As Faye is in a wide area here, drills it across. We get it away somewhat. Wallace is going to get it down the line. Of course, 3 strikers to aim for, but we don't find any of them. Wallace, though, maybe gets a second chance to get it out to Sheldon, and on this occasion, he does find his man. Sheldon skips past one, gives it back to Wallace, inside to Henderson. Lovely, lovely build-up play here. Dorrington, now with the ball, is going to charge with it through the middle, and maybe try and capitalise on the space that we have. Ashley Phillips. Patient play here, but we need end product. Flood. Brennan, Sheldon, the build-up play superb, the goal is beautiful, it's 1-0, there's a VAR check. Don't do it to me, Football Manager, don't hurt me, just say the goal's going to count. Thank you very much. Turns out you just have to ask the game to give you the goal and it'll just do it. If only VAR was that simple in real life. Build-up play here was really nice, Brennan dropping deep as the advance forward there, turning provider. Nice finish by our number 10. Okay, that goal helps ease the nerves a little. The fact that we're straight into a kickoff highlight has kind of eradicated any good feelings I had. Lyon not created a lot in this game so far, but then again, they didn't create much in the last game and they were still able to cause us some headaches. Henderson with the ball, gives it to Sheldon. Flood switches it to Hatswell. Lovely, lovely build-up play here. Goes back to Dorrington. Options to his right. That option is Ajaria and Phillips. This is nice. This is pretty. Mohammed, 2 players in the middle. One is Brennan. The other is Sheldon. Has he just backheeled that in? Has he just put that in with style? I think he has. It's 2-0 on the night inside 20 minutes. It's 5-2 on aggregate. Can we discuss this finish? I don't know how it got through to Sheldon, but when he did, Yeah, he's only bloody got him back killed it. That is sensational. I mean, we'll praise the players at this point. Obviously, we went 3-0 up in the last game and only won 3-2, so I'm definitely not going to kind of disregard Lyon just yet. But in this game here, we are bullying them, and it could go from bad to worse. Has that gone over the line? VAR? Surely that was over the line. Can we get... How did that not go in? It hit their defender on the back, rolled across the goal line. The keeper's managed to pull it out the back of the net, and the highlight's just not ending. What has just happened? I'm so confused. Sheldon's bringing it forward. He's on for a hat-trick. He could get it. Keeper denies him. Zalowski with the ball is going to launch it long for Lyon. That is a lot of L's, isn't it? Speaking of which, they're taking a big L right now. That was needless. Abner is bringing the ball for them on the left-hand side. It'd be very Football Manager now if they were to score. Rashid Mohammed is working back hard there as the pressing forward to intercept. And now Caleb Anson is bringing the ball out from the back. I don't know why he's staring down at the ball like this as he kicks it, but let's not question his technique. It works for him. Dorrington bringing the ball out from the back. Loads of space. No one pressing him down. Sheldon knocks it around his man. He's on for the hat-trick as a reminder. And he nearly had it again. I mean, let's be honest, Sheldon has been absolutely all over Lyon so far in this game. He's been causing them nightmares, and for a moment I thought we were going to score from the corner. Dorrington denied by the keeper. 3 minutes of added time at the end of this half are going to come and go. We're 2 goals to the good. I feel now vindicated in my decision to rotate things against Man City. To have this team fully rested for this game, they're putting in a great performance so far. Cresswell with the ball. They're playing it out from the back, Lyon. They're not changing their style of play. And to be fair, on this occasion, they've actually beaten the press. Pellistri lays it wide for Abner. The left back plays it down the line to Diaby. A few players for either team on a yellow card. Maybe something to keep an eye on there as Hatswell latches onto the loose ball. Sheldon dropping into that deeper position. Gives it forward to Brennan, who was man of the match in the last game. And I'll tell you what, that is another great finish by him there. The boy knows how to put the ball in the back of the net. When Andy White got injured, I needed players to step up. And I'll tell you what, Brennan has definitely stepped up and been counted. He's turned up in these games with some really good finishing. What a strike that was into the bottom corner. We're 6-2 to the good here. We're not taking our foot off the gas, though. We are still trying to make stuff happen, still trying to score some goals, and I suppose that's great to see. We struggled over the winter period for goals. You're seeing in, well, the 2 legs today. Goals are definitely something we're capable of scoring, and while we could get another here, Rashid Mohammed, goal number 19. It's 4-0. I now feel bad for them. Hatswell played it wide to Ajari. A little through ball here. Rashid Mohammed in acres of space. Thought he might square it. Nah, not this man. He goes on his own. What a strike it was too. Subbing off our centre-backs on a yellow card, getting some fresh legs on in the wing-back areas. We're 5 goals to the good. You know, at this point, the game is done, isn't it? 2 minutes left of added time. Is there time for a misery compiler? Oh my word. Dorrington very nearly kept his header down. There's still another chance. 2 minutes of added time. Ball's whipped in. Dorrington again. Heads over, and I'm afraid to say that is probably going to be that for this game here. 4-0, all 3 of our strikers on the score sheet. Sheldon with 2 goals and an assist. That is us through to the Champions League quarterfinals, my friends, and I'll be honest, we did that fairly convincingly. Like I mentioned, prize money's kind of big here. £8 million paid for playing in the round of 16. We'll get even more for the next one. Give Sheldon some praise. Really, really good performance by him there. Still not attending press conferences. Apologies to John, the press officer. You got a really boring job talking to Neil, haven't you? Now, it's early days, but looking at the current schedule, the Champions League fixtures are scheduled for the start of April. In terms of when that draw's going to happen, I think it might happen very shortly. You know what? I'll hit continue a bit. We'll see if it appears. I'm waiting for the Champions League draw. It's not arriving. I don't know when it is. All the games have been played. It should be soon. It really should be. Don't want to alarm you. It's Saturday. I've got an FA Cup quarter-final. Yeah, bad news. Going to be a mystery and surprise for next episode. Like I mentioned at the start of the video, just as a heads up, again, videos this week might be a little bit patchy, so just be aware of that. If there's a day or 2 without videos, I apologise. It is kind of just sadly stuff beyond my control. If you have enjoyed today's video, go down below, leave a like, leave a prediction. How far will we make it in the Champions League? I want to know your thoughts, theories, and all that good stuff. We're back next time for more. It's me, Jack, and I'll talk to you guys in a bit. I'm out.